Graduates, wagwan, wagwan. Like the live as you enter the class. We definitely have a lot to speak about tonight. First of all, I need to clarify that you can hear me nice and loud and clear. Can you just give me a thumbs up in the chat to make sure that you can hear me well? Okay. While I big up everybody who has arrived, please make sure that you share the live as soon as you come into class. Make sure you share the live. Can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up, everybody. Can you hear my voice? Thumbs up if you can hear me. Oh, excellent. Thank you so much. Hello, hello to Steph B, Island Breeze, Noriax, Everyday Life, big up yourself. Galsa Nice, Wagwan Marinsha, big up yourself. And as she says, like up the live as soon as you come on. Well, going on to no graduates. We have woolly patting to cover to rotted. No, sir. Pottinger Naturals, big up yourself. Bayesian Girl, big up yourself. As my rancher Dawn says, welcome one, welcome all to HTK's Live. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to show your appreciation to the channel. All right, so thump up your like button, because we need to jump up these algorithms and get this up and running. That is all we ask, and liking is for free. You understand? Girl with the biggest gap, big up yourself. Bayesian girl, up indeed. Vanessa, big up yourself. Ashley, big up yourself. Let's see who has this here. Paradise 869, Wagwan, Stacy, bless up. I stand with Jay, justice for Jay, indeed. Yvette Sharp, big up yourself. Annetta Brown, Gloria, big up yourself. Good that it's loud and clear. We don't want no sound problem tonight, I want to hear my voice nice and loud and clear. You don't know, so when you come to this screen, is a serious discussion we're going to have. I mean, I want no interruption. I don't want nobody a come on the live call look we like he last time. Foreign Woman TV, well, go on, bless up yourself. Norma, what's up? You're driving, but you're listening. That's all right, sweetheart. Gloria, big up yourself. Good evening, Natalie. I hope I have not missed anyone out, but everybody is welcome to a touch of class with HTK as long as you keep your comments respectful. Yes. Welcome aboard. Be you for or against our opinion. And this is what I always try to tell people. You can get yourself involved in a discussion, but please be respectful about it. You understand? So, CMR has done an interview with The Fix, and he finally speaks out about the situation. And we are going to review the talk. You understand? We're going to review it, and we're going to review it in detail because I think it's really important, first of all, that we do not attach any emotions to this, that we literally look at the evidence that is presented in front of us and we analyze it accordingly. We're not going to run with any guts or any feelings where this is concerned. We're going to talk about what took place and we're going to give our honest review and opinion, right? Um, I find it so interesting that uh, CMR has chosen to do this at this time. For one thing, first of all, I'm going to say big up to The Fix. I've always respected that platform. I continue to respect that platform. They do an amazing job. They're entertaining to watch, but they're also thorough with their interview style. And I find them to be more or less objective, even if they have to operate within parameters. So I can say that I appreciated them doing that interview. enough respect to them. You understand? Is it Isla Breeze? Yeah, the shop I forgot left for now, because me I focus on my thing. So the interview began with CMR basically, they always do a little forward clip for you to get an idea of what's to come. And he started off with it started off with this whole thing about him stating that sometimes you have to get to the worst place in order to see what's in front of you. And also, when that happens, he gets to see who is with him and who is against him. And the moment I saw that, I said, wow, is the spin off of this going to really get to the nitty gritty of what took place and the details about what took place with the case? And what I will say is this: the answers that CMR gave were very elusive, they were very vague when it came to the pertinent situation. And while it is that I can understand that being the case when you are going through legal proceedings, um, one has to wonder if the prosecution, the child protection services investigation that still might be going on is what is curtailing CMR from being explicit with what took place, how it took place, and so on. Because they asked some crucial questions, and all I could see was CMR skirting around the responses rather than hitting the nail on the head. But we're not going to jump ahead too much because when I go into this, I want to make sure that at least 100 likes are on the video, first of all, because it is about bouncing up the algorithms so that we can have an open discussion and make people aware so they can be invited into the classroom to express their views and opinions. Now, me go try out something. Hold on. Me go try out something, right? And this is going to give people the opportunity to join the chat. Let me pin that. Up to 10 people can come on at a time, but I'm not going to invite that many on, right? So if you are interested in joining the discussion at any time, please feel free to click on that link and join the chat. But for now, let's go into what CMR said and what was asked. And you know how I like to do things. I like to show you that it's not just coming from my mouth, but it's coming from the primary source. So we're going to go through the transcript of the interview, right? Let me just double check that that's visible in a nice way. Brilliant. Can we all see that? Yes. Can we all see that? Good. So I can see that you can see that nice and clear. And remember, with transcripts, the disadvantage is that sometimes you can't quite pick out the dialogue that's used in the conversations. The patois might come out a little bit funny, but we have to go pick sense out of nonsense. And also because clearly it does not state who is saying what. You understand? So I'm going to zoom in on that as much as I possibly can. Right. Okay, I can hear what you're saying, Talati Blake. Okay. Yes, he did an interview, Linda G. It dropped about an hour and a bit ago. So yes, he did do an interview. But we're gonna go through we're gonna go through what was said. Um so basically He spoke about the fact that many people were bashing him. Um, and the interviewers were quite sympathetic to the fact that people were bashing both his wife and himself, both Chrissy and CMR. And the first narrative that started to get spun was the fact that he was in fact vindicated. You understand? They were talking about the fact that they noticed that they weren't seeing him around for like the 2 months while the investigation's taking place. And they were seeing pictures with just the girls and so on. And they asked about what the dynamics were like between himself and during the investigation. Right? All right. So that was what came at the front of the video. Then them jump into them introduction. Stan. The man of the interview, the actual interview. So that was what started the video. The actual interview with CMR started with him talking about church and going to church on a Sunday and drawing close to God. Instantly, what came into my mind is here we go. It's almost as though you are starting to manipulate your audience so that they visualize you as a changed man because God is influencing your behavior. That's the first thing that came to mind because I was like, here we go. We're talking about drawing close to God and Sunday and church and so on. But then he went on to speak about the fact that when your back is against the wall, you draw God, right? And he knows that's what people might say, that when you're back against the wall, you draw for God. But and it's interesting that he said that because that's instantly what I thought. I was like, your back is against the wall. I know you're gonna talk about God. You understand? Um, but then he went on to talk about him being raised in the church, that he used to go to Sunday school, the fact that he almost baptized. He actually went and, changed his mind at the last to basically say that he was not ready, right? Um, why people, when they saw me, I laugh because I be a shape me and shape me, they know. Anyway, he reflected on his relationship with his mother and how church was instilled in him from he was younger and so on. And then he referred to his kids as being great gymnasts. Now, we all know that the gymnastics does not include Jay, right? We know that this only speaks of his two girls. And who knows if they're aiming at the baby going into that as well. But, it's not really a Jay thing. Um, and then this. Them saying that CMR entered Vindicated in the new year. It's like, what? Why is the word vindicated being used? That's the one that kind of threw me. Just know because you entered Vindicated in the new year. And I'm like, hang on a minute. The news the news that he was vindicated. What did I miss? Did I miss something? Did a trial take place? Did somebody acquit CMR and not upload the court documents to say acquitted? Because vindicated kind of suggests to me that he was innocent. You understand? And I was like, this is a very, very deep reaching word. Because to vindicate someone, and I'm just going to quote the dictionary definition of it is to clear someone of blame or suspicion. It also has a similar meaning to the words acquit, clear, or absolve. It also means to show or prove to be right, reasonable, or justified. And I'm thinking that is a very extreme shade of meaning to attach to a dismissal of a case, the dropping of a case. If you are saying that the case was dropped on the basis that there was a trial, and that was a crucial question that you really should have asked, but didn't necessarily get to, or couldn't ask, who knows? It would have been interesting had you asked the question. So, was there an actual trial? But the man said he was vindicated. And they were also leading with this narrative. He then went on to talk about prayer and faith and, all of those things. And, I'm not going to go too much into this. He spoke about how he felt about the passing of his grandmother. And they also referred to the fact that, social media was saying he was using the death of his grandmother for sympathy and all of that. I never said that, because a death is a death and mourning is mourning. And we've always said it on this platform. Listen, we're not going to go too much into the him going to the funeral of his grandmother, because he has every right to do that and he has every right to mourn, and there is no criticism where that is concerned. But I was still stuck on the word vindicated at this point, 6 minutes into the interview. When I listened to them ask about the arrest, something else jumped out at me, which I've got highlighted on the screen. It was from the detective's viewpoint that these were probable cause. Listen. And then he went on to say that with the detective, she's saying that this is what you could be charged for. They went on to say, okay, so technically it could have been a lesser charge, or it could have been a higher. And then he went, I was never charged. Now, people, me say everything yes, confused the life out of me, Because when he's saying all of that, I am going right back to the documents. I'm going right back to the document that was the no information document that told us that the case was dismissed. So we're going to look at it again, because he's saying that, first of all, he's saying that whatever took place in terms of the arrest and the statement that was given was from the viewpoint of the detective. In other words, it was not trying to imply or suggest that the statement that was written in the public arrest record was tainted, that the child never said the things that the police officer apparently claimed he said. Then he said he was never charged. Yes? So, and trust me, later on in the interview, you want to say that this detective did not do their job properly. Are you hearing me, people? That is what the man said. That this detective did not do their job properly. Now me I gotta stop here. So 264 of on sit down on the live. I prips on the ears and I listen. And nobody is liking up the live. We're stuck at 78. Before we go further, and before I show you that document again and we go through it, I would really appreciate it, even if you are just here to fast and you're not here as a supporter, that the least you can do is like up the live so that we can progress. I am not going to go any further with this while we have people just sit down here so just a pre. You understand? The least I can do I like up a life, man. Come on. That's the least that you guys can do. I know so no well one here the summary and the analysis. But it is not for free. Okay? So if you are not here as a supporter, you can exit and leave me with my graduates. So that my graduates can do the do and like up the live, please and thanks. Hmm. So he is telling the people them that he was never charged, right? Hmm. There was probable cause. Big up yourself, Queen of Diamond. That there was probable cause that the detective wrote the statement from the detective's viewpoint. In other words, it was not an actuality. And here in the narrative, I want you to just follow along with exactly what was said. So he kept saying that he was not charged, right? I was never charged, right? And that was him clearing that up, right? He claimed that he was a law abiding citizen. He's not going to break the law. We have already seen the rap sheet. So I don't really know where that description comes in when you literally have got a rap sheet as long as my arm. It may be about petty stuff from way back when, but I wouldn't consider you to be a law abiding citizen with outstanding outstanding toll infractions and all sorts, right? But as I said, the next thing he says, he sees himself in a video with him in court. And then they released him and gave him a piece of paper and said, "Oh, you're vindicated. You didn't do anything. Here you go." And I have to move on. Are you listening? Because we're going to look on the piece of paper. Because any other paper that would be given, as far as I'm aware, should be entered in the dockets. So perhaps there are documents we're not having access to, but then it should reflect on the court page as inaccessible. But I see nothing else. You understand? But we're gonna go in at the court documents. That was the so-called vindication. Right? Yes, Cocoa Puffs. You're vindicated. You didn't do anything. Here you go. And I have to move on. And I'm saying to myself, so first him see himself in a one video in a one court. Then them release him and give him a piece of paper. And the piece of paper say, "Oh, you're vindicated. And you didn't do anything." This is the part that particularly grabbed my attention. The "you didn't do anything" part. Here you go. And I have to move on. And then they're reminding him about the fact that, boy, his mugshot was very much loud. Um, and the charges being dropped was like a fluttering. Um, and the news of the news of being dropped saying it wasn't charged. Um, and then he reiterates, "I was never charged." That is the thing. I was never charged. So hold on. Me I go show you the document, because I don't believe that court documents are meant to say things that no go so. I don't believe that court documents are meant to claim that there has been a charge when there is no charge. I don't believe that at all. I would imagine that there has been no conviction, but to say there is no charge is a worrying thing for me because that's not what I read. But we're gonna read it together in a moment. Let me check your likes then. Okay, we're handling the bango better. Um, so they're talking about other types of things that are really bad crime, right? And the fact that it involves a minor and a family member. He's saying that that deeply hurts. That's his daughter. Um, and he's saying, I guess, the investigation was done, and after the investigation, they realized, that this man is innocent, good looking. I don't know if that's necessarily what he said, but that's what the script is saying. He's saying that he's a good looking, and upstanding citizen, right? And they realized he was innocent. How can they realize that you were innocent when the investigation that was dropped did not say you were acquitted? This is what I want to know. And according to the law in the state of Florida, when a case is dropped or dismissed and there is a no information docket, it simply means that there is not enough evidence or information to press charges. How is that to be confused with an acquittal? You are saying that you have been vindicated and that you were found to be innocent. Why aren't the documents reflecting this statement? Are the questions I am asking. Listen, I'm not going against what CMR says. CMR say I am asking crucial questions as to why it is that the documentation does not reflect or state that you were innocent or acquitted of the charge. You're claiming you weren't charged though, and you said that more than once, right? They asked you about how the investigation took place. Um, Chris's reaction to it. He claims that she was very shocked to know. She was shocked about everything. But he did not speak on behalf of his wife and claimed that, have the opportunity to, or they may have the opportunity to speak to her directly. That it hits certain way. And you have to wonder, like, is this really happening? And then he just gave vague answers I talk about once a small silver lining round the cloud and the ray. He just went metaphorical. He just went off tangent, just started talking in flipping parables rather than answering the question directly. Which is why I said I appreciate the proper questions that were being asked by the fix. I don't believe they held back, but I believe they never quite got the meat that they were probably hoping to get. And me like the brother beside the girl, cause as much as not him that talk to summer, him that kind of side eye him, me not gonna lie. When you ask him, so you and your wife still married? And him go on and talk about him having him wedding ring on him finger still, so that means say him still married. And remember, he's one of the vloggers rather, that keeps it real. Um, So he wouldn't be wearing his ring if he wasn't still married. And the guy was like, nah, but you're still there or what? Because you can marry technically, but uno not there, uno not together. And then the girl got even deeper with her question. Well, when was the last time you had sex? Come on now. Seymour, of course, giggled this off, never gave a direct response. So, not indicating whether or not he was still intimate with his wife, which is entitled to do. I'm on business that, like, do we need to be a fly on the wall? I don't want to imagine it. Do you? You understand? So, but I think fundamental point they were trying to find out is if they were still together. I think they even asked if they were in the same house or whatever. And he sidestepped that with a well and did not respond. Okay. And remember, I need you to understand that interviewers are very much trained in, because as you know, I've run many interviews on this platform, and you're trained in recognizing when there's a point of discomfort to move quickly on, because your aim is not to make your interviewee feel uncomfortable. After all, they're not sat in court. So if they don't want to answer, they move on, right? So they talked about the fact that the internet has been bashing Chrissy. This is the part where they were reflecting on the fact that for 2 months they were not together. There were pictures that were going up that did not include him. He did make it clear that as a part of the stipulations, he had to stay away from the children, um, or at least from the household, and he could not be there as a result of that, right? Um, and when they went to ask him, is it a case somebody random filed a report, and then drew up a statement, like, is this accusation not necessarily coming from your stepdaughter, is what they're asking him, but coming from somebody, a third party or something? And he went, we don't want to talk too much about it still. Now, we all know that there is nothing stopping him from talking about it other than the fact that they want to control the narrative. And he has to be careful about what he puts out there, especially now that they have decided not to be transparent about their lives. And clearly, it's on their terms, and it has to be of some either financial or personal benefit. Now, in this case, where he's chosen to speak out for the first time, he's done so on another platform benefiting them. So he can't be seen to be capitalizing on his own story necessarily, but the promotion of it will lead to, no doubt, another move where it becomes something that I'm sure will financially benefit. Let us see. He's claiming that his PR team and his manager, etc., are unaware of him taking up this interview, or if they are, they're not happy with him doing it, which somehow I find interesting. But that is what he said. Okay. He said that he was protecting his image in a way. Now, this is his way of incorporating the lies that were told to Mr. Vegas, and carefully for this part. So check out 1249 of that video, where he's basically saying that he didn't wish to speak on it because it's his daughter. And if it was a stranger, he would have run out there and start cuss and say, yo, me innocent, and that, like he would have said that the little girl there tell lie upon me or whatever, because it's his daughter. He was protecting the image in a certain way. So, in this statement, people, I'm picking up two things. One, he's suggesting that he was protecting Jay, and the statement came from her. We're doing the maths, Remember them asking, did some random person do the statements or reports? Him said no. So the report came from his stepdaughter. Two, they ask him, you know, basically asking him why him never come out and say certain things. Him said because it wasn't a stranger, it was his daughter, and he didn't want to say too much, and he needed to protect the image right, a certain way. Before that, he said he was vindicated. He was given a piece of paper saying not do nothing. Um, that he is a family man and upstanding citizen and therefore not capable of this kind of thing is what he has been implying. He was not charged. We're hearing all of that. So he might tell you without tell you that Jay tell lie. He is telling you but not telling you that Jay tell lie. So I would like to know if you're claiming that you never came forward, CMR, to speak on it because of your daughter. What has inspired you to come forward now? Is she no longer in need of your protection? Is your protection no longer important? Or is the image no longer important? Because everything that you're saying here, any intelligent person can read between the lines and pick out sense out of nonsense, even though you're going around in a circle. You understand? So then they asked him about a very crucial question about how is the relationship with his daughter. He went, oh, first of all, straight away was like, man, the relationship with all my daughters is wonderful, all my kids, right? But then they got specific. Come on now. We're not talking about all your kids. We're speaking specifically about relationship with your stepdaughter, right? This was what he said. He said that during the investigation, he had no contact. Now, this here clarifies, or at least I retract what I said earlier. It was not no contact with all the kids and Chrissy. It was no contact with just Jay, right? So he's saying during the investigation he had no contact. Now that suggests or implies that since the investigation is over, he now has contact. That is what that is implying to me, that he now has contact. You understand? So during the investigation, he had no contact, right? And him said when the thing happens, he just prayed. This whole leave it to God thing. He just prayed. He prayed. And that's okay. It's a human response to pray. But I'm just looking at the heavy weighting of God, Christianity, and faith and all of that in this particular interview, and in other instances where we see CMR painting himself as that righteous, perfect type of dad. When 2 seconds later we will hear him talk about dicking down girl and cussing up dirty bad word and talking about how he used to ever follow the girl them in a school and all them sitting there. You understand? We have all of that. All of that evidence, we have it. So hey, if you think we're tarnishing, come for us because we got the evidence for that. And it's weird because what kind of paradox is this? Anyway, let's keep going. Then he goes on to preach about himself, about how he believes parenting is not just a one-sided thing. It's got between mommy and daddy, because while the mommy may provide the nurturing, the daddy, there are certain things that the dad will do, and he has to be in daughter's life. There's no question. It's every daughter he has to be in their life, and so on and so forth. But hello, sir. Hello, sir. May I have a question? You feel safe if what you're suggesting, implying, is what we are deducing, that you're claiming that you were innocent all along, and this statement was made by the stepdaughter, but tainted by the police officer who found reasonable grounds for a charge that you claim you never got. Do you feel safe? But anyway, let me keep going. He says he prides himself in being a good father. He spoke about the fact that he has never claimed that Jay is his stepdaughter. He's always raised her from the age of 2 as his own, right? And he never separates her as non-biological, while the others are biological. You understand? He went on to address the way social media made him feel. He spoke about how one minute they will praise him for being a great father, and then the next they will speak negatively. And this is the part of CMR that I really don't like, because he couldn't just have said that and left it. He had to use it as an opportunity to jab at those he thinks has a personal vendetta, which shows me that he has a penchant for spite and revenge. Because why go in this direction after you? You could have just said that, bro. I love it this so. Why you had to then go into that they were speaking negatively because they were never, either because they were never a great parent, you know, because those who meant him positive or had constructive feedback would have reached out via email or private DMs. We don't know you. We don't know you. What we are reach out in a private DMS for? You have to watch and admire the family. How, who the hell are us to reach out to you in a private DMS and talk to you about nothing? We're not friends like that. And that is just not how the thing go. I certainly am no fanatic fan of anybody. Me not gonna reach out and talk to you about anything. Me have my platform, I come talk about it. Right? But why are you claiming that the people who speak negatively were never a great parent? Yo, me know say me not have no child molestation charge against my name. You know. People in the chat who not have child molestation against your name. Those of you who are against CMR, can I just ask you, were you considered to be a terrible parent by the courts to the point where you had to be removed from contact with your children? I'm just wondering because me know said that not happened to me. So me want to know if it happened to Uno. Me know say it not happened to my man. So I want to know if it happened to Uno. Eh? Because the logic of this is not there. Totally illogical rationalization. Because the reason why people lick out against your brother is because it involves a minor. And why can't you just step up and say, listen, I can understand that people are going to be angry because it involves a child. Instead, you are trying to put it into some kind of haterade conversation again because that is so narrow minded. And let me keep reading, right? That people would have who really cared about them would have reached out via DMs or tried to speak to them, email and so on. And then he came to this conclusion that whoever it is that's negatively criticizing him never shared a video, never purchased a product or merchandise, so they don't really care. I've purchased products from you. I've shared your videos. Yep, I have. In fact, I went through my shorts. I even found some other shorts with him in it. Me take you fast, fast, fast. Move that. You understand? Plus, the junk where them out there strike heavy, so me have to clean up my page. Right? But let me tell you this. How does this conclusion come out in the conversation from CMR? That if if them not for him, it's because them never buy nothing. How many of you on my page? Let me look now because I'm gonna do a little bit of research here. So, how many of you on my page has actually in the past supported the Carters? Be it you have shared their videos, liked their videos, viewed their videos, watch out some ads, buy products. Please to put a thumbs up in the chat if you have, right? Has anybody ever on my page done that? Because I want to know if it's really a whole bunch of people who never used to like this man, now looking at him differently. Hmm? Let me see. He's using the jealous card, saying people are jealous of him and the family. Be careful, Udonto or Udont know. You don't know. I say your name spell. You don't know. Okay, here we go. Here is somebody who is willing to say, yes, I have supported. Good. Who else can say that they have supported him in the past? See ya, another person. I have. See another person here. I have. I have. I have. Okay. So that argument is a complete fallacy. Not a thing go like that. Not a thing go like that. I am a past customer. I bought products. Why are you trying to spin a stupid narrative to say that people who are out here against the fact that you could possibly have molested your daughter, your stepdaughter, are in fact people who never supported you? This is why I say there is this real seediness and sleaziness about some of the things that CMR says and how he responds to the situation that really throws and casts a shadow of doubt across a lot of the things that you're claiming. Because the fact that you would lie and say that all the people out there never supported you, how could you have done that investigation, brother? You go and you check every name and you find out what their real name is and you know whether or not them support your painting a narrative. But let me keep going. Um, they spoke about the fact that their marriage had been being worked on from the year before, that they went through their stuff when it came to the cheating and how that blew up on the internet. Um, and that they went through some counseling. Then he went back into the whole prayer again, right? And then they were on this journey to change and to being a better marriage, right? He's spoken about the fact that he may be embarrassing Chrissy and maybe he should leave the situation for the better. But then it was more important for him to, well, I don't know if he said or if they said that, right? That somebody may have said, well, are you embarrassed? Has anybody suggested that maybe I should leave or whatever? Or if that thought has ever crossed his mind? Very adamant that he will never leave his kids, that he plans to be around his kids for life, that he intends to bear for them so that things are not difficult for Chrissy. So Chrissy is still being painted as this fragile female that needs rescuing, incapable of doing things like taking the kids to practice and blah, blah, blah on her own, and that it's going to be very difficult for her. So then she never do a whole series of blogs, people. I talk about how she get used to doing things on her own and how she's now very structured and organized. And, while she might be tired, she's actually becoming a stronger version of herself. Wasn't that what was pushed out there? That this is what was taking place. And now he's here saying that blatantly she can't manage, she can't do it by herself. Hmm? So how it changed from that to this, but he's saying that, it'd be too difficult to drop them to school, to church, and now she can't. He's saying she can't do it. And that he doesn't plan to ever abandon his role as a parent or a father. Of course, it is a wonderful thing to be there to relieve the duties of raising, right? When you rear children, you do need, sometimes support, and having that as the father of your children can only be a positive thing because both of you brought them here. But who is going to prefer a man who potentially may have done something so horrendous to being by themselves with healthy children? I choose the single. Me, personally. But anyway, as you said, you were vindicated. So let's keep going. Um, so it's his intention to remain in the family no matter what, to be there for his kids. Oh, interestingly, guys, he also said that the things that stands out for him was that he was a stepchild, that he himself was a stepchild. So he has no intention of treating that little girl any different from his biological children. When they asked about the nature of Jay, it was interesting how he came out and said how obedient she is, brave she is, how she's the best child. She never raises her voice. You hear the contradiction? She's the best child. She never raised her voice. She never, she never disobeys. How wonderful a child she is. So when he went on about this, I said to myself, the only person in the entire legal process that he has condemned is the police officer, the detective. The only person that he has outrightly condemned is the detective. Now, I'm going to be unbiased for a moment. Could it be that the detective spun a web of lies in that statement so that it would lean towards a probable arrest? Is it that the statement that was written was manipulated by the police officer in the favor of an arrest because they had their personal, I don't know, misgivings about CMR based on the fact that he had been previously arrested for domestic abuse? Is it that the person went in with a personal grudge and decided to completely tarnish this man's name, deliberately putting into the statement contradictory information to make him appear as a liar, therefore ensuring he would be arrested? At least charged, rather. Is that what we're seeing here? Because that's quite a serious allegation to be made against the state. And interestingly, he was asked, well, are you going to sue them? Are you going to go after them? And he giggled and said, let's not discuss that. So who to tell if something else is here that potentially we bloggers missed? I wonder. But anyway, let us go back to what we're on here now, which is reading the black and white. He talked about how Jay is so obedient and so on, right? And they spoke about how much they had supported him in the past and so on, and they couldn't imagine that he could have done something like this, but they were prepared to throw him under the bus if, after the court case, it was found that he was guilty. Because at the end of the day, if he was found guilty, him did deserve to come down. So them did go beat him. But given that the case, they, and I was noticing that they never said thrown out, dismissed. They just said, well, they said dismissed first, but they didn't say that dismissal was not an acquittal. They just kept saying that he was vindicated. And that now he was innocent. You understand? So he spoke about how he did not appreciate how some of the people reacted to his family brand being tarnished, right? And that even he lost several friends during the process. How apparently he used to do a podcast, and the guy that he did a podcast with, there was no more done since the whole thing. He went on to reiterate that, despite the accusation, he was not charged for it, and that he was innocent of the charges. When a court document, no. I think this is a good time because I want to know if I'm blind, illiterate, dunce, all of that. Me a question my intelligence now, and that is rare. Hold on a minute, I'm gonna stop sharing this. We'll go back to it. And we're going to look at the court document. Let me just make this a new window. Make sure nothing personal is exposed. Okay. Right. Let's share this now. Give me a thumbs up when you can see my screen, people. Give me a thumbs up when you can see my screen. Thumbs up when you can see my screen. In the meantime, take a little sip. Make sure say una take a little sip of una wine, etc., etc., so we can go into this document because something must be wrong with my eyes. You understand? Right? Let me look at some of the comments. Don't forget, guys, I have pinned. Do I need to pin it again? I have pinned at the top an invitation link if you wish to join the chat. So let me pin this again because I don't want you to feel like this is just a one person conversation, right? If you wish to join the chat, please click on the link to join the chat. All right. Let me unpin this. Let me unpin that and keep that up there. Okay. So it's pinned at the top of the chat. And I've just put it there. So if you wish to join, please do so. Hold on a minute. What am I seeing? Okay. Right. So let's go back to the screen share. Okay. All right, so I can see here he blamed the officer for charging him, but the judge was the person who found probable cause of the allegation and charged him. If you weren't charged, why were you required to post bond? Exactly. You don't post bond if you're not charged. This is the part. So if you look carefully here, this is the no information document, right? And when we scroll in on the document, it clearly says that the date when he was basically the case was dismissed. And it says here in black and white charges or charge. Yeah? Then it says 1. Lewd lascivious molestation, right? For somebody under the age, between the ages of 12 to 15. But the accused is older than 18 years old. In black and white. So you really need to address how these documents are blatantly saying that there were charges levied against you. And here it says, comes now, no information notice comes now, the state of Florida, by and through the undersigned assistant state attorney, and states that from the investigation which has been made, it is the opinion of the writer that this case is not suitable for prosecution. This action is taken to clear the records and to release the subject's bond if any has been posted responsive to the above charges. If in custody, defendant should be released, provided there are no other charges or holds against him. No other charges or holds against him. No other charges. So no other charges on top of this charge is what I'm reading. So, how in goodness name is it that CMR is on this interview claiming that he has not been charged when a charge is blatantly here? This is the part that I find very, very disturbing and contradictory between what CMR states and what the documents are stating. Somebody says police record statements verbatim, not based on their perspective. That's what it's supposed to be. But I'm not going to lie, Anne Marie. I have seen cases where police statements have been tampered with. But normally, when you do a statement, you're supposed to also provide a copy. And where, in the case of a minor, an adult acting on their behalf has to be present. And when that document is done, a copy of that statement is supposed to be provided. If the statement is not accurate, you're not meant to sign off on it because you're supposed to read it. You understand? And it needs to be signed off on. So I'm just wondering, how is it that during all that process, it wasn't determined that the statement's not right and the officer misinterpreted or whatever? Or maybe, or perhaps it was. I don't know. But, I would imagine that that would have thrown up an alarm. You understand? So when I when I heard him say that, it was quite strange, right? Let's go back to the transcript. Right. So he went on to kind of toot his own horn, that people don't necessarily want to understand him as a family man or to share his viewpoints, that they have their own opinion or we have our own opinion, um, that other people may have their opinions and keep it to themselves because they're not judge, they're not detective, but other people are playing detective and jury and God, basically. So I must say, people who are for him are not judge, jury, and executioner, is what he's trying to say. um, and he went on to talk about how God has prepared him with certain training in life for certain things. And it has given him the resilience in order to use this whole thing as a stepping stone. He says he calls it the stepping stone theory. Um, that whatever he goes through pushes him on to another level. So it was all kind of like pulling out the good from the bad kind of thing, right? I am, boy, I never know, I never understand how this man can sit there and say he's vindicated without the document stating that there was an acquittal. But that is what he's saying, people. That is what he's saying. And as I said, he blatantly said that the officer, the detective, did not, did not do the statement properly, that they used their own personal perspective to taint the statement. Anyway, he was talking about the fact that that the people who were bashing him had some levels of insecurities, and that some of them were just broke and looking to grow their platform. Everybody's looking to grow their platform, CMR, even you, right? So let's not go there. Everybody wants to grow their platform. Nobody's going to talk about non-trending subjects. um, everybody speaks about trending subjects. So if you're gonna do that, you please include yourself. You understand? Because you're literally out here clickbaiting, you and your wife, clickbaiting because you know say people fast. And you want to build off of this because the most views you've ever had in your life is since this arrest. Your lives and stuff were clocking some of the same numbers as mine before this arrest. So please do not make it look like say we are the only ones out here capitalizing because you yourself are equally capitalizing on the situation, but it is your situation to capitalize on. However, it's also public knowledge, so it's also ours. So you need to wake up. You understand? Because we see you, we see the clickbaits. Anyway, um, they're saying that there are some who would give them a constructive viewpoint who will DM him personally. Man, this personal thing. I don't know why I want people to start chummy with him. Like, for real? Why you want people to be so chummy with you? You get too chummy. That's why you end up with all those little rechinellas in your DMs, yeah? And you're wanting to do the dirty, right? With them. That's because you were busy getting too familiar in your DMs. Ain't nobody gonna slide up in your DMs, right? And then you go here, say, yeah, try to take Chrissy man. No, sir. You understand? But then you talk about the fact that they want a legitimate reason to rip you apart. Now, when I was posting, let me tell you something. Before, when you did all your cheating thing, I was against you 100% because, hello, as a woman, me not facilitate them kind of man. You understand? And a cheating man need to get condemned because especially when they have a wife that has shown them nothing but commitment and love and is an ambitious woman and is a compliment on your arm, you were more than wrong. The mother of your kids, all of that, and then you go pick up some trifling girls. It's not even like say these girls were reasonable thinking grown ass women. They were barely legal and very naive and extremely vulnerable. So it looked like predatory behavior to us from a long time. So you may think that it's a personal gripe, but I'm sorry, it has to do with right or wrong, mate. And you did just damn wrong, and you did very well deserve forget the admonition you got on social media. So this is you once again not taking accountability, looking for a legit reason to rip you. No. When it comes to kids, people are going to be incensed. That thing is a sensitive subject. And you ought to expect it, as harsh as it was. And sometimes still is, because we know people still out there beat you. Right? Um, they were saying they were really confused about the whole thing. So here is where he made the statement 32:18. So you can go and check that, right? You can go and check the 32:18 mark in the video. He claims he was arrested because of what the detective feels as if she didn't do her job. She didn't do her job properly. Let's say that if you had done your job properly, I wouldn't, and this is all askew, but you can figure out that he's basically saying that he would not have been arrested if she had done her job properly. So he's saying that this detective, this is the first I'm actually learning that the detective was a female, did not do her job properly. So the only persons he's condemned in this whole process is this detective, this female detective. Um, and then he went on to talk about the fact that it doesn't even matter because even as an innocent person, if so here, um, even if I'm an innocent person, the damage is already done, right? I think that came from the interviewer actually, because it doesn't matter now. You've arrested me. My mugshot's gone out there. The video's gone out there. I'm an innocent person, is what they're interpreting this to be. They spoke about Warren. That's the guy who does the joint podcast. He spoke about the fact that the situation would have had a negative effect on his brand, but they are still good. And it makes sense because at the end of the day, nobody wants to align themselves with that on a public platform. And it will have an impact on their audience. So when it comes to business, he fully understood why Warren and backed out of doing the podcast at the moment. Um, he picked up his brother, even though he said his brother did not do things in the right way. He was aware that there were a few people who were there for him. He spoke about King and Shay, how King and Shay was there for him. And did not bash him, but he also spoke about the fact that there were several other YouTubers who never came out with a good character reference for him and did not support him at all. You understand? I think the crucial things have been covered. I'm not gonna go into everything nitty gritty. You understand? I think the crucial things have been covered so far from this transcript, right? He's made it clear that he's no longer going to be as transparent, but he was encouraged to be his true and authentic self by the panel, um, by the interviewers. And he said no because he tends to overshare. And let me see these comments. I think he didn't hire a lawyer because he knew he could manipulate Chrissy not to press charges and to get Jay not to go forward with the allegations. Is that why you think that he's stuck with the public defendants? HTK, such man has no accountability to what he has done for his behavior. That's just a narrative also talking about people who privately inbox him. Yeah, even if people do that, it's just to get him comfortable, not because they empathize with someone accused of SA. He was not accused of SA, for the record, Antoinette. He was accused of molestation. There's a difference. So be careful with what you've written there. Look how who are called people broke him up on social media from 19 oh long and could pay for a lawyer. I don't know if him couldn't, if it's that is what is on paper. Yeah, what may I say to you, some people know if I hide them money. So hopefully they were saying to him that he's now been vindicated, and hopefully people will give him the opportunity to show that vindication, um, so that he gets redeemed, right? And they hope that they carried on being a happy family, and that it would push them to the next level and so on. And he's emphasizing that he and his wife need to reach to another level where God wants to put them. He's ending the conversation with God again. And it's he's enjoying this interview because he thinks this interview is painting him in a good light. All right, I'm gonna done share all this. I'm gonna give my personal summation now. I've gone through it. Yeah, he's talking about all of them. I'm just making sure I haven't missed anything that is significant. And give thanks, CMR, that people. Yeah. I think that's basically it. Let's stop the sharing and let's just talk now. Let's just talk. Let us just talk. CMR, I think you thought this was a good idea. I don't believe it's a good idea at all. I thought this was a terrible idea. And I'm gonna just tell you that you have in fact implied that everything was a lie. Um, the person that you are making the allegations against is the detective, which I would be hesitant to think that you would make such a claim if you didn't have legitimate grounds upon which to do so. It would be highly foolish because that said and done, um, things could be taken, used against you if anything comes out to be a lie, right? And if this is the case, and there's been some manipulation of the investigation, and the processes did not go right, I have one fundamental question to ask you. Why have you not said the words, I am innocent of everything I've been accused of, in direct language? Because you're going around, um, and you're saying what other people said, that I am an innocent man, like basically saying you're innocent of all charges. But I'm not hearing the words, I am an innocent man. I am not hearing, I didn't do it. I'm not hearing those direct words. And I'm wondering why you don't say it. Just say, I didn't do it. Not, no, go, so it's a lie. And it's not a lie that is a fault of my child. You could have said that. Instantly, you would have still been protecting Jay. And you would have then pointed our nose towards the investigation process. You understand? Why is it that even after none of you are saying those? You should be, listen, if I know that my husband is innocent, people, let me tell you something. You see, if somebody accuse my husband of something we him not do, I mean no say nothing no go so. I mean no say people are out there fabricating things and is bare lies being told. And I also know that even my child is being slandered as a liar. Me say I would have come out here and I would have charged some fire, you see, because there's no way I would allow the public to get away with that. To to tarnish the image of my husband and my child like that. I would never allow it. I would come out here and I would say, listen, things can go wrong in an invest, especially after I'm putting it in quotes now, the quote unquote vindication. Um, can you miss the part, one part where him say him is a faithful husband or must the transcript wrong? No, he did say that, but we not pay attention to that because that's a last year's story. You understand? We all know it. We just know that he's using this interview to paint himself in a positive light. And he thinks it has been a success in that respect. He thinks that it has worked, right? Um, but it hasn't worked. And when you look at the comments that are under this video, it's pretty crazy. You understand? Um, So, for example, this person said the person who needs to come forward and speak of these allegations is his stepdaughter. I don't believe anything CMR has said from his mouth. I see the lies right through. And that got 240 likes. You've got somebody else saying him and Chrissy are shameless. Then they're saying the relationship with him and his daughter will never be the same again. I don't care what nobody says. Clear signs of a narcissistic. He didn't give direct answers to any questions pertaining to the situation. That got 85 likes. If a child says they're being abused or touched inappropriately, believe them 100%. How or why would a child come up with such a lie without prompting? No picnic can't say me feel them up no day, no time, cause me no play certain games. That got 60 likes. Stop the lies, CMR. I cannot with this guy. I'm just telling you the impact of this on the man. He thought this was a good move. It has, if anything, it has put the nail in the coffin, and many people are now very convicted in their minds of his guilt. So if it's a matter of, listen, the investigatory process was tainted, it was not done properly, the statement was manipulated, come out and say that. Because if it's on those grounds that you received your so-called vindication, come out and say that. And then if you can say that, you can say it is of no fault of my daughter why this process went awry, which is why we are protecting her. Come out and say that. You know, things say. But when you come out and say that, everybody would have start pan the investigators and the police officers and start cuss and go on. But look how them make we are drag the picnic. Look how them make we are drag CMR. Look how them make we are drag Chrissy when I them mess up the investigation. Why not come out and say that? Or is it that you have to try and identify if this is something you can use in a court case against the state? Because it would make sense. I am just asking. Why not come out and say that? Um, Nobody has to say anything. The people show themselves, believe people when them show themselves. Hey, Shiki, the man say, don't full stop. True. That is true. If they didn't think they would come out, they should have got a 9 to 5. So people's reactions now. It is important to note that CMR was not declared not guilty. He got off on a technicality because there was not enough evidence to prosecute. Obviously, the family decided to handle this matter behind the scenes to protect the child and the family in general, as she already stated that she did not want him to get in trouble. She only wanted an adult to speak to him so that he would stop. I know the daughter, and there is no way she would have gone to school and fabricate such a story. Regardless of how things turned out, he's guilty in my eyes and will always be regarded as a child molester. After all, what was alleged was not hard to believe considering CMR's many past indiscretions. Bam! I am only sad that he is indirectly damaging the image of the child by giving the impression that she's a liar. 130 likes. Somebody said this man is sick. His wife said it numerous times. However, he's not the sickest in the household. Hmm. Boy, this a comment here did slap what. So one thing me know, a lot of innocent people they are prison and guilty a road. This child didn't lie. People saying that the interview didn't make any sense. He skipped around very important questions. What a waste of time. I'm telling you. This person says before the interview, I was like level 7 confused. After the interview, level 10. I'm telling you this, people. I'm sorry, CMR, but the interview was not convincing. It was not convincing because you never came. It would have been so good if you came armed with something that was documented. This piece of paper you were given that said that you were vindicated. Said the kind of person that you ought to be if you're innocent would have insisted that you put up that document and prove that you got a piece of paper saying that you were vindicated and therefore you are innocent and free to go. You know? Because the paper when me read and I said that you're vindicated. Hmm? Maybe he's right about the detective not doing her job properly. If she had, he would be guilty right now. Maybe. Oh yes, man. Yeah, man. Them sell off. Them sell off. I may always rate them still, so there is no question about it. They are top. They are top at their game. They're good. They're damn good. And I will never ever disrespect their platform in any way, shape, or size when it comes to how they handled this interview. They asked him difficult questions. He just danced around them. He just avoided them. They spoke about how everything was impacting on his contracts and things like that. And his response was that, oh, they were trying to stop his bread, but, he paused certain things and America doesn't work like that and so on. And as I said, I have never advocated for that. I have never pushed for that, but I've been aware of it. I've seen people saying that don't use Chrissy, don't use CMR for anything because of the convictions or the charges, rather, and the arrest. So it's bound to happen. People are going to go out there, they're going to troll because they don't feel like they're getting any satisfaction from the responses of the parents. And these are the things that you need to do for damage control when you have bad publicity. Why do you think a president or a prime minister takes straight to a press conference to provide a public statement when there's bad publicity? Because you have to control the environment and the narrative. But you guys never did that, which was wholly irresponsible as public figures. You automatically should have done that. And I don't know which PR team telling Nafiki by one mouth, but you need to fire them and get new ones because that's something that is done by the toppest leaders of countries. As example, why the hell remain silent and allow the narrative to spin out of control? Well, just to see who like you or who not like you. Who's got time for that? There's no real love on social media. I tell you that. If you find it, it's rare. People like you for a season, for a passing moment. After that, you might say something when a popular and then gone. I saw it go. So at the end of the day, why didn't you come forward and make a statement to claim that, listen, this was the case? And now we have a situation where you're claiming that my words twist up. The detective did not do their job with due diligence. So let me ask you, how is it that when it was presented at school and then the officer came, was the school member not also present to hear the conversations that was taking place? I wonder. Was the public arrest record of the complaint, was the complaint done at the school or in a secondary interview after the arrest? There's like so many questions there about how it is that you're claiming that the statement was tampered with, because that's what you are suggesting, that the investigation was tampered with and that your daughter was misrepresented. He's waiting for them to DM him because he's that important. You understand? In a few weeks, you'll have a whole new topic. Watch people play with me. I got a whole new topic anyway. I didn't understand. Did the child ever retract the allegations? No, there was no retraction. A retraction would have definitely been a court docket. And there was no retraction. You know, like when Chrissy retracted her domestic abuse allegations and sent in that whole letter about how she need our man. That's a public record. So in this case, no, there was no evidence of that. And even if we couldn't visibly see it, it would have increased the numbers of the dockets, and the numbers have not changed from before there was an outcome, right? So somebody here is saying, CMR, you never knew that marriage was sacred when you did cheat on Chrissy. Sorry, but your story not add up at all. There's so much bad publicity that has come out of this that has reinforced a lot of doubters into thinking full swing that he was guilty, but he got away with it. It was not a very effective interview at all. It was damaging. It was damaging not only to himself, but it was damaging to Chrissy, and it was damaging to his stepdaughter, because there is still very little clarity in terms of what he's trying to say made him vindicated. What he's trying to say made him vindicated should not have been something that he needed to hide, because that would have taken away from any kind of blame when it came to his child. That would have stopped people going for his daughter and calling her a liar. That would. So why remove everything when people are asking, where is Jay? Where is Janae? Why would you take that off your thing if you and your daughter have this wonderful relationship as you're claiming? Why would you go after aggressively the bloggers by trying to take down their videos, etc.? Why not just reach out? Our email addresses are right there, and say, listen, there is other stuff going on, and this is the situation, right? I.e., the investigation was tainted and it's not our daughter's fault. Please, we're asking you to respect our privacy or control this narrative, right? Do you know that that move would have swung the internet in your favor? That bloggers would have started trying to clarify and holding horses and saying, people, it soon come out. Did you want to ride the wave for financial gain? I've got so many questions. Why you could not have made this clear from the get-go? There is so much here to unpack, and you have in fact opened up Pandora's box even wider than you needed to do. It was not necessary for you to come out with this kind of perspective at all. You understand? You could have allowed this one, man. Am I the only person who thinks so? Am I the only person who thinks so, or is there somebody who thinks something different? Please join the live. Let us talk about it. You don't have to come with your camera on. You can switch off your camera. If you want to join the discussion and say something, please click on the link and I will accept you into the chat. Jill was a sacrificial lamb in the situation. Yes, either way you take it, she was. Because at the end of the day, if you know that there is something that you can use to quell the public, that would make the public look in a different direction. Because a would heap of time the system come down on black people. So if this is the argument that you are using and you have got evidence of that, then hello, why not put that narrative out there? There was nothing stopping you. If people who are being arrested falsely or have been falsely stopped and searched and all them something, they can come out and start scream the day after. What is stopping you? What's so special about you why you can't do it? Hmm? What is so special about you that you couldn't come out and say it was the investigator who did not do her due diligence and built up a case against you? It doesn't add up. Because if you're saying that your intention is to protect your daughter, why it is that you never came out and spoke out? It no make sense. Because how would that claim have damaged your daughter in any way? It don't make sense. And all you've done is left the audience looking at you now fully looking at you to let the world know that you cannot be trusted. This is how you are giving. That's the impression that you're giving. And your PR agency or your manager or whoever you have for your public relations have every reason to be angry about you doing this interview. It's truly damaging. They really want to shift the narrative so they can go back to their family channel, their main money source. Yes, Talia, yes. I think that's what they want to do. And they want to be able to ride the wave at the right time. Now, I did get some inside information, but I'm not going to share it. I'm not going to share it until the person give me a thumbs up and say, okay, you can share it. As this person is a family friend, or at least a source is a family friend. And I'm not going to blow them cover. But there is even more to be revealed, is what I'm going to say to you people. There is even more to be revealed, is what I'm going to say to you. Okay? And it's only a matter of time. Only a matter of time. And all I'm going to say is, no, sir, me Empress. No, me not. Here there, share it. You see what I'm saying? Me not doing it. Me not doing it. The person asked me not to, and me not doing it. But them share with me, wagwan. Me not doing it. Yes, una na go make me throw my source them under the rug. It na go on like that, right? This person has asked me not to because it will reveal who they are, right? And as such, I am not going to say because the information is so detailed and so that it would lead straight to them. But even that is enough to tell you guys that even within their own circles, people don't trust what they're dealing with and what they're doing. They don't trust it. Una try guess no. Una go on. Watch them a try guess. No, me not go tell you. Me not go yeah or nay. Not a thing you go get out of me. Not one word. Um, the fix. Big up on yourself. Una did a good job. I really appreciate how you handled that interview. I like that you were not biased to the kind of questions that you asked. Respect due to those young people. You're doing the thing them. CMR, you've damaged yourself more. This interview was damaging. But you know what they say. Be it good publicity or bad publicity, every publicity is publicity. And even though this has done nothing for improving the image and what people may think around the whole allegations, it will still catapult him further in his influencer career as in terms of popularity, views, likes, for when he is ready to make his next strategic move. I'm wondering if this is a build up to them reuniting under one roof in order to spin a narrative that there was nothing at all going on, that there was a wicked police officer, a Babylon, yeah, an oppressor, and therefore, and probably race related as well. Let's throw that in there. He was another I can't breathe. And therefore, justifying him being around his stepdaughter, because then people are going to look at it and go, oh my God, even Jay was made to suffer because she never said those things. That officer, wicked, wicked officer, wicked, cruel officer. I really wonder if this is the pathway to getting back under one roof, because logically it don't make no sense to me. Because if that was the reality of things, CMR, you could have been under the roof long time. Cause you could have did start spin a narrative there from your cupboards. Um, would not have stopped anything. And even if it was during the investigations period, from the 30th of December, you could have said it. If you had to be silent before, you did not have to be silenced after the dismissal. But why? Why keep silent if that was the truth? Very strange to me. And you talking about God, 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 God. Okay, it's great to be God fearing and it's great to have faith, but I'm sorry, your behavior is not indicative of somebody who's seasoned in faith, because you were literally just last week cussing up Dirty Badwood. So make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. And you're not fooling anybody. Anyway, graduates, make sure you like up the live before you exit. I hope you have found today's class thought provoking, interesting, and it has given you a another alternate viewpoint to consider. We have to, at the end of the day, take things in stride with how the characters reveal their information bit by bit. But one thing's for certain, and two things for sure, they always eventually tell on themselves, because social media is their lifestyle and this is how they earn. All of them, I am going to change that. All of us may be growing our platforms just by discussing this, but not all of us have exactly the same motive. Some of us will discuss if we have 5 people, 2 people, 1 person, are known. And some of us will only discuss it if it's trending, while some of us will come out here and clickbait an audience into thinking them coming to hear them business and don't share nothing because it increases the views around something controversial that's happening in their family. Which of those are you? Hmm? Light up the place with the purple hearts. We still say justice for Jay, because at this point we are still not 100% certain. We're still not 100% sure. And regardless, justice for Jay, it doesn't stop, because even if all of this and everything he's implying is true, she still needed justice with her image. She still needed justice with how she was looked at on the internet. She still needed justice in terms of a voice. And you kept that quiet. I don't understand. Purple hearts, everybody. Give us some purple hearts while we exit the chat. Let me go through some of the comments. I pray good intervention for Jay. She's going to need it to get over this hurdle. Chrissy, bring him in our yard. She's at fault the most. Because all this is public, and if anyone was to do a background check in the child, they would see all of this. Do you think that the child's future is in jeopardy because the dad and mother making it look like her allegations was not true? Well, no, not necessarily. Camera in my room. I was wearing underwear. Did the officer make those up? I'm telling you. Let me tell you something. So many questions. Are your spirit at work, HTK? How can the mother be with him after this? Well, she's definitely not going anywhere. Me said the only way she a go leave that dirty mania is when she lose all her brand deal then because of him. Quite possibly. This whole thing has become all about money making for them. Poor Jay is definitely the sacrificial lamb. Thank you for your perspectives, your viewpoints. Big up on a nice, clean self graduates. This is your girl, Hetty Chake, and we'll see you again another time. Bye bye.